The whole video stops with such a silence as if they need us to start. So let's start. All right, so let's again keep this session really energetic. Look, I thank all of my panelists. They've been really kind to kind of disrupt this panel session a little. So this will not be a theoretical Gyan session at all. What we've done is this. We have given a clear structure to this panel. Also, all the key learnings that panelists will share will be converted into an image, almost like an infographic, and will be shared on LinkedIn and with each one of you on email, right? Now here's the thought. For the first 5 minutes, each of the panelists will of course introduce themselves, apart from whatever that you've heard about them on the video. After the introduction, we will have each of the panelists share 3 critical lessons of their journey about the 3 fundamental pillars of any organization. And that is human resources, right? You could call them people. Second is culture. And third is operations. So each one of us will put forth 3 or 2 or 1, as is comfortable, of course. And again, this would not be theory. So Ambika comes with a very rich experience. So does Praveen, so does Nasir Bhai. So all of them will talk exactly what you should take back home and implement in your company. So Nasir Bhai, if we could start with you as an introduction.
Just introduction or the entire 5 minutes?
Just the introduction.
Okay. Well, my name is Mohammad Nasir and I'm basically from Coimbatore. I run multiple companies which is into brand activation, brand audits, exhibition interior designing, and also a consulting company handling to basically a different segment of people. That's a company which is about 5 to 10 years business. How do they scale up and go to the next level? That's a kind of spear that I along with a few domain expert team works with in India and the Middle East. And I also own the franchisee for BNI in Coimbatore. We have about 550 BNI members in Coimbatore. That's a brief about me.
Ambika.
Hello everyone. My name is Ambika Subramanian. I currently run an early stage startup, just recently started. I can't say too much about it because still in stealth mode. Hopefully it'll come out of that in the next 2 months or so. I'm also an angel investor looking for interesting startups and teams to invest in. But I'm here today, I was called to talk about best practices in startups, etc. To draw upon my experience from the last 10 years with a data analytics company that many of you would have heard of called Mu Sigma. Last year, I exited the company as the CEO of the company, and I was with the company doing various things, right from when it was a really young startup to where it was last year, about 4,000 people in the company working across lots of Fortune 500 companies across US, Europe, Australia, and so on and so forth. So I hope to give you some learnings from my life over the last 10 years and share with you. Hopefully you'll find that useful.
Great, thanks Ambika. Praveen?
Hello everyone. I am Praveen Singh. I run a BTL agency based out of Mumbai. I also mentor few startups, and people call me idea persons. And for that idea, I got recognition from Prime Minister itself. My idea got selected, and one of the ideas is Skill India, which was given by me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for keeping it really short and very focused. So, as I said, let's keep it. I think Ambika, let's start with you, because possibly, and as far as I've seen across all our experience on in the panel, you've really scaled and not just scaled. You've scaled. I'm sure in this journey there have been many challenges. So why don't you take us through HR? Please feel free to talk, various aspects, hiring, maybe firing as well, if that happens, culture and operations. Over to you.
Sure. So let me start with what has helped me over the last few years to sort of scale the company from a young 10, 50, 100 people company to thousands of people who a number of ex-Mu Sigmans are across various well-known companies, Amazon and Google and what have you. How come we used to wonder how come so many people find our guys interesting? So that's what I want to draw upon here. To me, the ability to scale hiring in the company, ability to hire and build teams came out of two key things. That's what I could abstract out as I reflected on what really helped me. And those two key things are depth and discipline. And this is not things that I'm looking for in people, but rather things that has helped me and my team to scale our teams. Now let me explain a little bit on what I mean by depth and discipline. Depth is all about how well do you know how work gets done in your business. Seems like a simple thing. If you're running your business, you should know how work gets done, right? But it's actually not as simple as that. It is about understanding in fair amount of depth and granularity how work gets done. And with that, once you have that understanding, the granular components of how work gets done, once you have that understanding, you should be able to draw out insights and draw parallels on what characteristics you want out of your people. Now, most recruitment teams will have JDs, they will have numbers to go after, they will have resumes to screen and so on and so forth. But before you do any of that, you need to know three things. One is, what are the basic characteristics that you need in your people that you can acquire from the market? Right? And the second thing is, what are some things that you can, what are the characteristics and skills that you can build on top of that through your own in-house training or partner programs or whatever. And then there's a third thing which I will come to later. Now, if the basic set of things that you need to perform work in your company is not acquirable, then you're screwed. You shouldn't be in that business at all. But assuming that you have a business and you can get that job done through certain basic skills, I would say that you need to figure out the two layers. One is the basic skills, and then what you can layer on top of through training. If you don't break these two things, what will happen is you will be in the business of acquiring talent from the market that are almost ready-made for you to become productive in your company. And especially in India, it's not possible at all. It's not feasible. You don't get those kind of people. There's no point in trying that. So the thing that has worked out for us is to not look for that ready-made kind of quality. Instead, look for those utmost basic things that you need, and then figure out if you can add on new skills from yourself. Now, it does two things. One is your ability to find people at scale. Second thing is, you will be adding value to those people once they come and join you. If they're already ready-made, so you're paying them, you're compensating them for the work that that they do, but what are you doing as a company to build their growth, their new skills, and so on and so forth. Now, it's important to get the order right. So for example, I'll give you a story. All of you, I think by now, know what data and analytics means. Every business needs to be data driven. There are mathematical, statistical tools, there are programs, R, Python, etc., which are very popular as skills in this space. We never looked for people who already had those R and Python. Sometimes my recruitment team would come and say, hey, this person can't pass our entrance test, but he knows R and Python. I would say, no, you can't hire those people just because they have those skills, but rather the fundamentals have to be always met. So that's the number one thing. Second thing is the last bit that I talked about, which is a set of skills that you should always have as a wish list. These are skills that may not be readily needed for the work that gets done in your company, but these are things that would add a little oomph to what you do. For example, think of it as, when you're scaling a business, think of it as you have a bouquet of white flowers. They're all uniform, they're nice, beautiful, good smell and so on. But then to add that oomph, you need some color of, a yellow or a pink to pop. Now, I think these are skills, especially in the case of analytics. For us, storytelling was a skill that brought oomph to our business. Understanding, engaging with customer, a little bit of anthropological mindset, more creativity, thinking of art in data. These were all skills that you didn't need in everybody, but if your team, at least some people in your team, if they didn't have it, you would become like a factory of just boredom, right? Even though you're doing highly skilled work. So that's what I mean by understanding in depth what your people need. And the second thing is discipline. discipline within your recruitment process. If you, whatever insights you have through this analysis of your own work and the kind of people that you want to hire and the skills, if you don't apply very rigorous discipline, you will kind of falter in your ability to scale. By discipline, the example that I gave earlier, if you suddenly find a resume which seems to have ready-made skill, but they can fail your basic characteristic test, you have to have the discipline to say no. So that's, I'll leave it with that.
Sure. Nasir bhai. And you're free to cover all three, which is HR, ops, and culture, or you can kind of choose to. Yeah.
Okay, basically, I just wanted to really take you through the typical entrepreneurial journey for all of us go through. See, once you reach to a different level, then it becomes relatively easy. When you have about 500 plus companies, but when you are 30 people, 25 people, that's when the real challenge comes in. So I believe some of you probably understand my language better. So I just wanted to take you through, like, since the subject is called as Road to Success and the best practices, I just want to take you through what happened to me about 20 years back. A friend of mine called me and said that, Nasir, you want to make a lot of money? I said, yeah, of course, yes. That's the reason I've quit my job and got into the business. And, like entrepreneurship all starts with, you don't want to report to somebody else. You want it to be really, really egoistic, and you want to do your own way of doing things. And that's the reason that you are a businessman. And now for the last 4.5 years, we had close to about 500 entrepreneurs in Coimbatore, a city which is typically an entrepreneurial. And these are all BNI members, That means you're talking to 550 plus super ego people. Yes or no? So when you really look at this kind of scenario, at that point of my friend of mine was asking, you want to make a lot of money? I said, yes. There's this guy who come from US and he wants to, why don't you go to this 5-star hotel and there's a presentation, I want you to look at it. I went there, I looked at the presentation, he was just starting off with the Lamborghini and Maserati and those days James Bond's Aston Martin cars and things of that sort. I just looked at it, it was very impressive. Then he talked about beautiful house that he lives in the US and so on and so forth. And finally he started telling, I'm into an MLM, that's multi-level marketing, I have so-and-so product, and if you guys can probably spend 1 hour a week, you can make this much of money. Now the question here is, money making is not all that easy. Agree with me? Yeah? If you just spend 1 hour a week, do you think you can make that kind of money? No way. Now, but the same company, I don't want to name the MLM company, now they started talking about the product, they started talking about what it can do for you, and so on and so forth. So the question I want to actually start off with, before you actually start thinking about startup and scaling up, your valuation and all those things, you need to understand the fundamental thing that your product, whatever may be your product or service, that has to really, really be good. Agreed? Agreed? Here my friend Satish is actually part of a sounding board member. We always keep talking about it. And Satish always used to come and tell me the very simple thing. Like, Nasir, you can sell biryani online, but the biryani has to be good. Whether you sell it online, you value it to $1 million, $1 billion, whatever it may be, but the biryani has to taste good. Yes or no? Yeah? So that's the first fundamental thing. The second thing when it comes to hiring people, a lot of us think that in entrepreneurial driven company, we don't have to really practice what is happening in the corporate companies. So we had this advantage of working with all the best of the companies in the country, whether it is Pepsi or GE or Asian Paints, Vodafone, things of that sort. So what we've learned from them is, there are some best practices in terms of HR. So we picked it up, put it in our company, and then started doing it. So one of the things are, like, psychometric assessment that they do. But most of the entrepreneur company, we don't practice all these things. Why? Because we always go by the interview. And these guys nowadays, they go into all kind of YouTube videos. And during the interview, when you speak to them, and you will automatically ask this question, 5 years down the line, how do you see yourself? And this fellow immediately will say, sir, I want to sit in your chair, sir. Yes or no? So how will you feel? You feel, wow, this is the kind of a guy. And you take him, put him on a board, 3 months, 4 months down the line, you realize, oh my God, I made a mistake. Because this guy's behavioral orientation is not suited for sales. And you think that this guy can turn around the company, and you pay him